Hey Bears fans, welcome back to the Bear Review. Today was a monumental day for Chicago as Ben Johnson stepped up to the podium for the first time as the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. His opening press conference gave us plenty to think about, and I've got 4 major takeaways from his speech that could shape the future of this team. You're not going to want to miss this, so let's dive right in. 1. The front office is aligned with Johnson, and he with them. One of the major concerns coming into this hiring cycle was whether the Bears would be able to meet Johnson's main criteria for taking the job, which was having alignment with both his general manager and the front office. For weeks, so-called insiders speculated, that was code for wanting his own guy, or the Bears need to clean house to land Johnson. Well, now we know that was nothing more than people blowing smoke. Johnson came out of the gate saying, "It was clear to me from the beginning that the priorities were straight." He went on to directly address George McCaskey, stating, "It is perfectly clear that you're willing to provide all the resources for us to win here in Chicago." McCaskey has been something of a boogeyman for Bears fans recently, and this statement speaks volumes about Johnson's opinion on ownership. Johnson isn't one to pull any punches, and I don't expect him to start now. Honestly, for me, the biggest vote of confidence was his first statement regarding his relationship with Ryan Poles. He said, "We are going to be lockstep every step of the way. I cannot wait to work with you, Ryan." Now, I've been critical of Poles in the past, but this tells me 2 things. 1, Johnson has the utmost respect for him. 2, Poles is willing to work side by side with his head coach to build this team, putting aside his pride for the greater good. My second takeaway was Johnson has a plan to bring the Bears into the modern era. We already know Johnson was a gifted offensive mind in Detroit, as shown by his success there. And you can see on the card here on the screen that Johnson was at the top of most offensive metrics last season for the Lions. But he came in today and immediately assured Bears fans that he has a plan in place for Chicago. He understands that modern football is a quarterback-driven league, even going as far as to saying that the quarterback success is a higher predictor of winning and losing than the old notion of turnover ratio that we heard so much from Matt Eberflus about. He further went on to explain that the offense will not simply copy Detroit's system. Instead, the playbook will be torn down to the studs and calibrated specifically around Caleb Williams. Speaking of Caleb, Johnson said he's a phenomenal talent and made it clear that it was a big factor in his decision to come to Chicago, which leads me into point 3. He has a clear plan for Caleb's development. Johnson spoke highly of Williams throughout the presser, but one particular quote stood out. He said, "We're going to spend a lot of time together. The quarterback has to see the game through the play caller's eyes." That final sentence alone provides more insight than everything we heard from Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron combined last year regarding Caleb's development. While hyping up Williams, Johnson also made sure to emphasize that Caleb can't win games by himself. This balance of praise and realism is exactly what you want from your head coach tasked with mentoring a generational talent. Point number 3 is Johnson stresses accountability at all levels. If there was one overarching theme to his opening remarks, it was accountability. Johnson made it clear that he would bring a new set of standards and expectations to Chicago, rooted in the values of the men and women that literally built the city. Things like work ethic, professionalism, integrity, and of course, accountability. We're going to do what we say we're going to do, and we're going to be who we say we're going to be. If we fall short, there will be consequences for that. He also added, "Get comfortable with being uncomfortable." It's not hard to see this as a subtle jab at the outgoing coaching staff, who often talked a big game but failed to deliver. Johnson briefly mentioned that once the culture is firmly in place by the spring, the team's veterans will act as the enforcers of accountability. Now it's up to him to deliver on those words. Now, Johnson also spoke about how the roster is loaded with talent, calling it a sleeping giant. However, the standout moment for the press conference was this gem. To be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoy beating Matt LaFleur twice a year, a man after our own hearts. Now, there's a lot more to unpack from today's press conference, and we'll dive deeper in the coming months leading up to next season. But for now, I want to hear from you. What's your biggest takeaway from the presser? Did I miss your favorite moment? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Chicago Bears content. And until next time, bear down.